Procurement. What comes to your mind when you hear of the word procurement? Many individuals relate it to the buying and supply of materials for production. It goes beyond that. Recent studies have shown that procurement is one of the oldest and still fast developing profession. It is speedily taking key positions in almost every sector of the economy. Welcome to another interesting edition of the Mshel Real Estate Show. My name is Rebecca Amos and I'm your host for today. Today we'll be discussing procuring quality construction material with someone who has led the procurement team at Mshel Homes. This is a young, vibrant and intelligent person who has ensured that all our properties are produced with quality materials that are up to standard. Join me as I welcome one of the great minds at Mshel Homes, Mr. Edogie.
Thanks for having me.
It's so great to have you today on the show.
Sure.
Can you please tell us more about yourself, your vision, and your source of motivation?
All right. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being here. My name is Edogie Achewi Igbo. I'm privileged to lead the procurement unit in Mshel Homes. It's quite an honor being given to me to head this very sensitive unit. And it's very interesting to talk about procurement because it is something that we do on a daily basis. And it gives me much pleasure when my services is bringing results to the company. And that is what drives my passion, the results. I've come to mix with the people that have very positive vibes and mindset about life generally. And that has given me a very great motivation to work. And as a person, getting results in what I do is one very driving force behind my career. I think that's much you to know about me, except there's something else I've not mentioned.
Interestingly, you said getting results, and I believe procurement is all about results. There are a lot of steps in the procurement cycle. Can you share more light on these procedures?
Okay, procurement has a whole lot of steps and activities. But before I go into some of those steps, I will quickly want to establish that procurement and purchase are two different things, because most of the time we use the word purchase in the place of procurement. So purchase is just an aspect of procurement, just like a one-off and buying process. Meanwhile, procurement is a series of activities towards obtaining either a service or the goods for production purposes. Right. So it's first begin with needs identification, because you won't go into these processes when the need has not been established. So for you to go into procurement exercise, there must be need identification. That's the first step internally. And then this need to be assessed and appraised to form a scope. It is in this appraisal that you will set out the basic requirements for which will necessitate the procurement exercise. So you haven't formulated this scope from the need that have been formulated initially. There is another stage we call the sourcing process. Now, the sourcing process is to get qualified vendors or contractors to service this need that you have identified. And in the sourcing process, there are two aspects. You're sourcing for the right market, you're sourcing for the right vendor, you're sourcing for the right materials. Good. So if it's a product you want to buy or purchase now, like I said earlier, purchase is just an aspect of procurement. But if it's a goods that you want to just purchase, then you're sourcing for the right market and the right price. So that needs to be taken very carefully, because at some point, while sourcing out for vendors, you might be sourcing out, or for materials rather, you might be sourcing the right material at the wrong place, and that will affect the overall output. For example, we are into construction generally, and we deal with materials. So let me just use reinforcement for example. You might want to purchase reinforcement here in Asokoro. You might get the best price here, but this is not the best market, right? So we know there are places where you can get the same material and at a better
Market
price. So while sourcing, you must get the right market that is in proximity to the point of usage now, the right market, the right product, and at the right price to fit into what you're doing. Like having sourced out, if it's for a contract service that you want to give out, you source for the right vendors and then make out your intentions known to them. That is now you're opening for those vendors to bring in their bids or their quotation. Good. So when they bring in their quotation, their submission, which is not a bid, you then analyze their submission, referencing what you have already defined in the scope. If their submission meets at least the basic requirements of what you intend to do. So that is the assessment process now, assessing the submissions from contractors or bidders, as the case may be. And then after your careful examination or assessment of the bids, you can then make out your analysis that will give you the pointer as to who to adopt or who to give this contract. So together.
Oh, well, that's it sounds like a really long process.
It is quite.
So, and this brings me to my next question. What is the ideal time for a procurement cycle? Do you have like a time frame for it?
Okay, there's no specific time frame for the procurement exercise. It is tied to the task or the needs that we are identified. If we want to go to the market and buy, say, iron that we're using, you don't need much time as compared to when you want to buy specialized item. For example, you want to procure lift. You know, there are different time frames for different activities depending on the peculiarity of the activity to be carried out.
Okay, that's great. So it means what you're buying influences the time frame you're going to use. This is really getting interesting. So there are a lot of technical processes that are involved in evaluating and selecting potential vendors or suppliers. Can you shed more light on this?
Okay. Now, there's always a session we call the pre-qualification stage when you're analyzing a bid in the tender processes. Now, your assessment now, you do the financials and you do the technical. Now, the technical bid, I'm using the word bid now in the context of a contract. If you're assessing or analyzing a technical bid, the bidder would have included in that document their financial statement, their capacity, their material, their equipment, and all that. Luckily, that will also form a base for you to make your analysis. But we look out for competence as well, because you must have the right hands to operate your vision, to drive your vision. So we also check your technical staff, your manpower. We reference previous work you've done before, and a whole lot. But bringing it down to, say, materials, buying of materials now. We try to look out if the material suits the kind of work we want to do. Now, there are some high unclassified work you want to do. I'll keep referencing reinforcement because it's one of the commonest items we use for construction that is of cost, or that it has cost implication. Now, if you have stated in your interest that I need reinforcement of, say, TNT, that's a brand. You need TNT full gauge.
Okay.
Now, when they are submitting their interest now in a bid form, they must be able to state that, okay, they are well ready to supply this material according to specification. Now, for each material that is being supplied, we ensure that the supplier delivers exactly what we have ordered for. Right? So those are some little things we put on checks. It might look very, very common, but if not followed carefully, a supplier can have smart here. So we ensure that most of these specifications are put on are written down, and then we follow that adjust what is being supplied to the company for one of them. Right.
Yeah, before today, I always have this mindset that procurement is just all about going to the market, seeing something, and then paying for it. I always see procurement officers are just there to guide the buying process and negotiate prices at the market. In case viewers, you're like me also, I would suggest you stay glued to your screen and watch more and learn more from Mr. Edogi. We'll be going on a commercial break right now, and when we come back, we have more interesting conversation with Mr. Edogi. And before you go, we had an interesting episode last week with Mr. Yakubu Shalangwa, the Assistant Head of Marketing at Mshel Homes Limited. The link to the video is in the description below. Make sure you click it and watch. Don't go away, there are messages for you. Welcome back to the Mshel Real Estate Show. Before we went to the commercial break, we're talking about procurement with Mr. Edogi. But before we continue our discussion, there's a red button showing on top of your screen. Make sure you click on it so that you get notified whenever we release a new content. You can also like and comment and share your thoughts about the topic we're discussing today. Thank you. So, Mr. Edogi, thank you very much for being here. So, before we went on the break, you started hitting about vendors and suppliers. Then it occurred to me that there are some unethical practice that these vendors and suppliers normally do. And then how is Mshel Homes handling such issues?
Okay. First, I want to establish that Mshel Homes, we try to protect the integrity in all we do, and that is also inherent in the procurement department. And as a way to curb some unethical practices from our vendors, we're trying to ensure that they know our intentions very well. They need to know that we are not just building because we want to make money. We are building to give our clients value, and by such, we need to deliver a very standard product. Now, there are some instances where some vendors who want to take advantage of your familiarity with them, and then knowing fully that they've been doing business with you, they will just assume. An assumption doesn't have a place in procurement exercises. Now, when we request for a particular item, you must supply that item as requested. No room for assumption. If there is any changes, it must be communicated promptly, and an approval is given to such before it's being brought to site. Now, there are some times where a vendor, because of familiarity, will want to use emotional intelligence on you. There are some common statements they do make that, okay, I'm giving you this because you're my friend. It has no place in procurement exercises, because the person might be telling you, I'm giving you this because you're my friend. Meanwhile, that's not true. And you must stand your ground, and you must be very smart enough to get first-hand information from the market so you can take a prompt decisions on that. But as a company, upholding our integrity is not just in the business. We decentralize it to all activities, which also have to do with the procurement processes. So we also expect our vendors, whatever they are sending to us to site or supplying to us, even in the office, they maintain a specification. Now, as a company, we don't take for granted the place of fishy deals. So once you go off the place of business, we place sanctions. I've had some instances where we request for a particular item and the supplier brought something else. all in the name of I'm familiar with this guy, I can talk things with him. But by virtue of integrity, we don't take that. You will have to take it back at your own cost, because you have gone off the plans or the specification. So we place strict sanctions to that, and even to the procurement officer that is in charge of that processes. If you compromise such, if you accept that for the sake of familiarity or friendship's sake, we penalize you. You understand? We are a very disciplined people, and we try to bring that discipline in all we do. So beginning from in-house, you that's in charge of the procurement exercises, you must stick to specification. You must follow what we have predetermined. And if a vendor is going off the plan, you penalize such. If it's consistent, you replace the vendor. Nobody is indispensable.
Wow.
Right there.
So your relationship with a certain vendor is work first before your relationship with any other person. It's really amazing to know. So as a leader of your team, how can you best describe your leadership skills, and how has it shaped the growth of Mshel Homes?
Okay, personally, I would say the kind of leadership pattern I prefer the most is the sort of a democratic system of leadership that allows for inputs from everybody. All the members of the team feel important, because when you give them that sense of belonging and you allow them to make inputs when necessary, you give them that passion that, okay, whatever we do here, whatever success we achieve here is for all of us. So I believe in active participation in the department, because it is also a pattern that I met in the company, and it has shaped me as a leader of the department. And once this is kept open for all members to be active in the processes, it gives them an avenue to grow and make them more satisfied in the job they do, because they know that they are stakeholders in the processes generally.
Okay, thank you very much. So let's move a bit personal now. In 2020, so after the year, you were awarded as the staff of the year. She will know some transfer to the radio. Okay, so how does it feel to be the Mshel Staff of the Year in 2022?
Well, it's very exciting. It's a very great honor being given to me. And on the other hand, it's a little fear, because this is the trust of over 100 people being given to one person. So in as much as I'm celebrating it with excitement, it also places a lot of caution around my activities, because going out there, I am carrying the mandate of an organization. So with this consciousness, it has helped me to grow personally. It has helped me to build some certain characteristics or habits that will make me a better person. So it's quite exciting to hold this position.
Can you tell us how that award has affected you positively?
Okay, it has affected me positively in so many ways. Because like I said earlier, you're carrying the mandate of over 100 people of the organization generally. So there are some places where I knew I wasn't doing well as a department head. And with this honor being given to me, I had to go for personal training, have to do a lot. And the company as well has not relented on me, because of course they know I'm human, prone to failure. They've also invested in me as well, because of course they gave me the title and they have to make me look like it. So they've also invested in me and building capacity. That means I've enjoyed a sponsorship for some courses that will make me a better leader, courtesy of the company. So I've grown, and where I was last year is not where I am today, to the glory of God.
That's really interesting to know. You know, for all this time that we've been talking about procurement, we've been talking about work. Let's get to know, what do you like doing apart from work actually? What's your hobby? What do you enjoy doing at your leisure time?
Okay, funny enough, what I will mention as my hobby, I've not done it throughout this year. I can say just twice. What I like doing the most is playing football. I'm a sport man, and it gives me relief when I play football. And then I like swimming, and then plus having quiet time with me, sometimes it gives me a sort of relief. Yeah, but generally I'm a football person everywhere.
That's really good to know. So, Ms. Aidogi, thank you very much for sparing time to have this conversation with us. I'm sure our viewers have learned a lot from you. We look forward to creating more amazing content with you. Our dear viewers, if you notice from the beginning up to this time in this program, we'll be talking about quality and standard. That's to show you that at Mshel Homes, quality and standard is one of our watchword, and we ensure that all our properties are not just qualitative, but they are also meet basic requirements and standards. So if you desire to own a quality and standard property, don't click on this. Call the numbers that is displaying on the screen below, and I assure you that your dream will come true. Remember to follow us on all social media platforms at Mshel Homes. You can also visit our website at www.mshelhomes.com. This is where we'll be drawing the curtain on this episode of the Mshel Real Estate Show. I'm sure you learned a lot. So on behalf of my humble self and the entire production crew, thank you for watching. Bye for now.